Thank you again for coming. The first item on the agenda would be the review of the May 3rd, 2017 minutes, which is in the packet. Catherine has passed out. Anybody have any modifications, changes, or amendments to those minutes? We have a motion. We have a second. Second by Scott. Motion by Steve. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, Steve, Treasurer's report.
In your packet. Let's see here. Let's see, so far we've got today $424,000 revenue, expenses $199,000. We have cash on hand of $224,000. You'll see the monthly expenditures here and itemized expenses as well. So it's pretty straightforward. Any questions?
Excuse me.
Any questions about anybody about the budget? Or the financials?
We repaid the OFUCG loan, is that right?
Yes, we did. I did that before I went on front council. Under advice of council at the end of the table. That's right. Yes. So we are out of debt. Anything else? Okay, the next item under old business would be the 2018 budget presentation to council. I went over on behalf of this organization in May and presented to the council our proposed budget. It seemed to go well. Everybody, Jake, speak up if you want, but I felt like everybody was on board with what we're doing. So they approved our budget for fiscal year 18, and they were appreciative, as I pointed out, that the money was repaid to them. They gave us for a seed grant, which we appreciated, and so I think we're off and running. There were a few questions about certain things we were doing, and I've told them we got a few things in the hopper. We discussed our art projects, told them we had more coming, so they seem to be pleased about that. But I think overall it was a very positive reception by the council. So thanks to you all. I appreciate all your help in getting us there. David, you want to update us on what we're doing out in the streets?
Okay. The numbers are pretty much the same. The only thing that's probably you'll see increases is probably the graffiti numbers. And most of those are they're just the cards on the poles that we're pulling down. So those are only numbers that are really going up. I started pressure washing more, and we had that problem again on Main Street with the law office. I've been doing that like 3 times a week. Every Tuesday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday I'm doing it over there. Last time we were here, we were talking about when the pressure washer. I checked around on some prices, and at United Rentals, it's $184 a day. And then there's one that's Sunbelt is $205. I found a used one at Sunbelt in Cincinnati. They want $1,000 for it. It's 6 years old, and I told the guy I talked to people, and then I will see how it runs and see if it's in pretty good shape. But a brand new one costs $2,300 from Amazon, and the shipping is free on it. So I want to put that out there. And I mean, by the time I use it, if I rent one and keep using it, I'm gonna pay for a new one. Look like what, 5 times? That's like $700 some right there. And I had one other question. Who would I talk to if a property owner wants a public bench moved? Mr. Darlington in front of a Fayette cigar shop, he was wondering if that one could be moved. I told him I would ask.
There's a bus stop there, right?
Yes, sir. That's what I was talking to. They probably would move it because it is a bus stop. He wanted me just asking away, so I kept my promise. So that was it for me.
What's your thought on the pressure washer?
David, we're talking about, it's not just a regular,
It's a wet steam, hot water.
And that'll help with the gum removal.
Yeah, especially in Mill Street is tough. I mean, it's like no matter how many times I do it, it seems like it's not really doing it. And you can see the difference on if I stagger in. The sidewalk is clean, but the residue from the gum, there's still some spots there. And I wanted to also hit over by Harvey's. That's pretty bad with the gum spots and everything too. There's a lot of spots in places.
So,
Yes, sir.
I wasn't clear. Have you tried the hot water yet?
No, I didn't rent it because it's tight. I wanted to check with everybody because of how much it costs
Yeah.
to use. You know.
Well, I'd be really curious to see how it worked, maybe rent one for a day and see if it gets that
Yeah, see if
residue
it-
off.
See if it'll make a difference.
But I think it's such a problem, you know, personally, I'd be all for buying a new one if it did work well, because this one, like, main complaints.
Yeah,
about
maybe
walking
rent
down
one
the
per
street.
day if it works.
Yeah,
buy
it works, yeah, correct.
When we were up in, Minnesota, there, would you all run that up in Minneapolis as well? They had a pressure washer, but they also had one of these things that looked like a circular pad that they could actually scrub. You know what it
They make a huge difference,
Yeah,
yeah.
huge difference, and I don't know what they're called, but it was
Just got
very
pads on
effective.
the bottom, you look at
It'll
tape.
have a pressure
Dishwasher, yeah.
It's
You
a
might want to
scrubber.
consider looking at acquiring one of those in addition to the pressure washer, because
And it has pads on the bottom of it, but I know it has one that just has the spinners on the bottom.
that's too much detail for me to.
Okay.
It was block by block, so maybe you
Yeah,
could ask.
yeah, you could
if
ask.
they use up there.
Exactly. I'll check it.
Because they use them,
I know Scott used it to clean the,
they're really pleased.
you had a guy that used it to clean it and did a heck of a job.
But where do we store something like that? Do you have a physical facility?
Well, we have a gated area across the street from the office, and I was gonna ask Gary about if we were to get it, would we be able to put it in that storage room in the garage in the basement? It's only like,
Yeah, no, it's not very big.
yeah,
I would agree.
I got a
with
spot.
Jake.
Yes, spot.
Just rent one and see how it works, and then just buy one, buy a new one.
Okay, so I think you got
And I would
your
make that motion.
We have a motion from Larry to go ahead and rent one for now, and then if it proves successful, which we hope, then we'll go ahead and look to buy a new one. And we would like you to take a look at Steve, at the scrubber or whatever that you're referring to there. Okay, so we can, but I think you have a,
If you get all your folks that managed up there, that's what they're using, they can take specifically.
all right, I'll make that call.
okay, we have a motion from Larry. We have a second by anybody? Second by Gary. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, David, you got your authority to move forward. Any other questions for David?
I want to make an observation. I spoke to him directly. My office is street level, and I look out my window all the time, and I see our purple shirts, and they're not just roaming around, they're working. I think you guys do a great job.
Thank you.
No, you do. And David's out there, he's got his sleeves rolled up. I've seen him out there with the broom, the dustpan, with everybody else. You do great, all of them, good ambassadors. Yeah. Anything else? We move on? My favorite subject, trash. Catherine?
So we made some calls to the city. We spoke with someone who was over the Live Green Lexington program, so those are those brown trash cans you see. There are no plans to replace those, and they don't have any replacement parts for those, so they're just going to stay as they are for now. We also spoke with Lauren Monahan in Waste Management, and she said there's no plan to get new trash receptacles in the downtown area. There's some black and green ones. We also asked her to look at the ordinances, the city ordinances, to see what the city of Lexington is required to provide for downtown. She is still working on that, and we haven't heard back, so hopefully by next month I can tell you all more. But so far what we've been able to find out is what is out there now is what would continue to stay out there with no plans to replace it.
I will add, there are plans to replace them, some of them anyway, because that is built into the Town Branch Commons project. I asked Jonathan, and there is plans to replace those and benches for that project.
So what if we went forward with this is to discuss with Jonathan to get their plans for what their trash receptacles are gonna look like, and then match ours if we replaced the ones in the core, make sure they all matched and look like they all belong together. So I'll continue to keep you all updated.
that might be an opportunity when Jonathan's ready to do that, then to joint bid those and see if by adding volume, we get a better price.
Good idea.
Yeah. We definitely want it to all match, so we need to get with John. So I'll continue to keep you all updated on the project.
Anything else on that topic? Okay. Yes, I'm gonna give you new business to intro for me.
Okay. So after our discussion last meeting, we were speaking about panhandling and homelessness, what the city is doing, what can be done. So I decided to invite Holly Ruddick. She's the new director of the Office of Homelessness Intervention and Prevention to join us today. And then we also have 2 representatives from the Lexington Division of Police, and that's Lieutenant Corey Doan and then Assistant Chief Melissa Sedlacek. So I'll turn it over to them. You all can ask questions, share your comments, concerns, but I'll open it up to them down there.
I think a lot of you know me, Charlie Blanchard. I was the director of the Office of Homelessness and have moved to a different position within the city over the last couple of months. But because of the transition nature of that, I was involved in our solution or potential solutions that we've been working on for panhandling. And so I'll kind of start and then I'll introduce Polly. You all, of course, were aware of the law getting thrown out and then the massive increase in panhandling. I won't revisit all of that. Back in March, I actually flew out to Albuquerque, New Mexico, along with Steve Polston from the New Life Day Center, and we visited a program there that was known to be effective in reducing panhandling, and that was their, they call it their Better Way program. It's their, what we now know here is our panhandling van project. So we brought that back and began working on a program to implement the panhandling van, which we'll be glad to answer questions about, but also a much broader communications piece where we're trying to expand public communications on the issue to raise awareness about the damage you can do in giving to people who are asking for money, how that can be harmful and why you shouldn't do it. I can tell you some anecdotal stuff. Polly actually probably knows some numbers from the van. I know a good story I have is that a guy I've known well for the 3 years I've been in this position who's panhandled about every day during that time period. I ran into him recently and he said, Charlie, I don't know what you guys have done, but I used to be able to get $75 and now I only got $7. So he was really upset because he could only get $7. And what it was is just general increased awareness. People weren't giving as much. And what happened with him, this particular guy, we know this is happening with other people, is the reason he had come to us, he was looking for the van. He said, I can't make money anymore doing this. Can I get on this van? I got to be able to pay the bills. Now, this particular guy is kind of our typical panhandling story. He's not homeless, but he does struggle. He's got severe mental illness. He's got disabilities. He can't really get anybody hiring. So he's sort of stuck in that in-between phase. So he's a good candidate for this kind of project. I'd like to introduce you all to Polly Ruddick. Polly has taken this over from me as I have transitioned over the last 2 months into my new position. Polly is now the director of the Office of Homelessness. She's doing a great job picking this up and running with it. And she's getting ready to lead us through rolling out some additional public communications piece. She's also working closely with Steve Polston, who's now implemented the VAN program.
Hi, everybody. I feel so weird just standing. So as Charlie said, my name is Polly. Couple just real quick data points for your van, just kind of give you some positive updates. In the month of May, the van ran a total of 7 days. So currently the van is only funded to run Tuesdays and Thursdays. It only has one van, so there's a max out kind of seats. It was full every single day. Total of 32 participants throughout the month. 8 people actually rode the van twice. There's no fixed route for the van throughout the city, and they are to pick up active panhandlers only, so it's not like you can go to the New Life Day Center and get on the van, which actually makes some people quite irritated because they do want to work. So they go to New Life Day Center and they're like, I want to get on the van. And we're like, no, you can't because you're not panhandling. So it was full every day. There's a 90% acceptance rate. So they fill up really quick. So a lot of complaints that I still get are the outskirts of the city sometimes, not necessarily downtown. And it's because by the time they get out there, they're already full. Steve has tried on 2 different occasions to drop workers off at the site and then go back out and try to pick up some more, which is a good thing. However, like I said, it's only budgeted to run 2 days a week for a certain amount of people. So we're kind of spending down some money quickly, a lot quicker than we thought. We thought we'd have full funding for a year, and we're pulling that back. So in conjunction with that, because we need a financial plan for the van because it is so successful, you can go to lexgive.com. That is a financial support system for the van specifically. United Way partners with us. They run that website, but they actually give the funds directly to New Life Day Center. That's a question we get a lot. Is it running through United Way's typical funding process? And it's not. It's completely separate. And they just write a check to New Life Day Center quarterly. As of yesterday, we've made $785. Of course, we haven't really had a public campaign for it, so that's just been word of mouth. So speaking of our public campaign, in the next several weeks you will see some signs go up on city streets talking about Let's Give, please don't give to panhandlers. They are ordered and they are sitting currently in traffic signs department waiting for me to tell them where to go put them up. So there's 46 signs that will go up probably next week on city streets. We are pending approval from the state for a very modified sign. As you may know, state roads have very strict regulations and standards about putting stuff on New Circle and Richmond Road and the off-ramps. Those don't belong to the city. We are trying. We are trying to come up with a solution and work with the state to get a sign up at those corners. We know that's a hot spot. Can't really give you any expectations on that, positive or negative. We're just trying to work with the guidelines that they give us. So hopefully we'll get those up. Also, I got the finalization, and this is a hot conversation I get a lot of phone calls about. We want postcards for our businesses to hand out to folks. We ran out. Charlie, I think, went through 10,000 of them. And we have run out. So I have an ongoing list in my office of everybody who wants cards. There's 2 separate ones. I got final drafts tomorrow. I'm sending them to Lynn Imaging today to order. One is basically general public, what to do if you're approached by panhandlers, where to get resources. The other one is a direct give to panhandlers if you see them. It talks about the van, earning $9 an hour, how to utilize the van, what days it runs. It's information for panhandlers. So sometimes, you know, if you have businesses and you want to give to general public, and then the other one is if you really, please don't give, we always say please don't give money to the panhandlers, and you can just hand them a card, which is FYI going to make them very mad. So they might throw it back at you. Just a heads up. So, and then we're doing some meet and learns, conversations with the chamber to do a spotlight. We're starting to work with the faith community and kind of getting them on board and what's the best way to do a meet and learn with them. Just public education, talking about the ordinance, talking about what you can and cannot do. Also, the final version of our public service announcement was sent yesterday. That's going to air on TV stations in the next couple weeks. It's 15 seconds. It's real quick, but it's hard hitting and it's very impactful. I really, really like it. It talks about, you know, all the places you can go in Lexington for free food, for shelter, for housing. But please don't give to panhandlers. So, am I forgetting anything else that was on that list? So it's kind of all encompassing. The only thing we're really kind of searching for now is the financial sustainability for the van. We'd like for it to go 5 days a week. We'd like to probably run another one. There's dignity in working, and the myth of panhandlers don't want to work is not true. Clearly, we have a full van when it runs. So
How much is a van a day? The cost?
The cost,
So all in.
about $500. Between the salary of the driver, so I was thinking between the salary of the driver and you pay all your folks, you pay the gas. But you know, they've picked up something like 25 miles worth of garbage off our streets, bags upon bags. We don't have those numbers for May, but we are gonna have them in June. We've had one gentleman who was homeless. He successfully linked to permanent housing and is permanently housed now because he got on the van. So at the end of the day, they go to New Life Day Center, they're hooked up with resources. The goal is to move them from the van into permanent work solutions. We asked that private, you know, Steve and I talked about private businesses partnering. If a private business needs their parking lot cleaned up, if you need landscaping done, that's an option to coordinate with Steve and go under contract with Steve so that van can run and do some work for private businesses.
But right now they're working at city parks, things like that.
City only right now. Yes.
Would you elaborate a little bit on the social services aspect? So when they get off the bus at the end of the day, they all go into the Midlife Center for counseling, or?
Some of them, there's not any necessarily counseling, but there is case management. So everybody at the end of the day goes to New Life Day Center and gets off. New Life Day Center gives them a snack. They also have other resources. Like I said, they hook you up. If you need permanent housing, they'll hook you up with permanent housing. If you do need some mental health counseling, they have a mental health that can case manage you and get you a referral to a mental health agency. They can hook you up with food. LexTran gives free rides to the shelters if they need shelter. Any kind of social service in Lexington basically it's kind of housed at the end of the day, and then they connect you to those resources. Yes.
Polly, a couple of questions. The PSA that you were about to put together, is that something that could be shared that organizations like the Management District or Parking Authority could put out on social media and that kind of to help?
Yes, we would love that. So we will share it on as soon as it's fun. You know, as soon as I can.
Okay.
I will send it out to as many people as I can and basically beg that you share it on social media, on your websites, with your partners, with the public, personal, professional, any way we can get that message out there. Yes, please.
Okay, and then the other question, the signs that are being designed and about to be in production, could private property owners take the proof or the template for that and produce our own if we felt like it was appropriate on our properties?
Yes. You sure can. And if you want those digital markups, I'll be more than happy to send them to you. Because it is a very kind of general sign, you can put them in your parking lots. We're working with the hospitality industry to kind of work with the hotels and restaurants about what they can, the signage. Also, if you want to help me out, the entertainment industry here in Lexington downtown, our fear is that even if we make a solution for the day-to-day panhandling, when it comes to events here in Lexington, we're going to get a flood because again, it's not illegal. So any connections that you may have that I could, you know, the Opera House, Lexington, any kind of marketing, entertainment folks, we would like them printed on tickets, e-tickets off the internet, the templates for the sign, if they just want to put them up on a post in a kind of thing, you know, on the night of the event, if they want to put them on their property, if the Lexington Legends want to put them on their gates, anything like that, I will send you those markups and you all are more than welcome to print those.
That's great. Thank you.
Just
To what? So Jeff just reminded me, we are continuing to work with the groups that feed in Phoenix Park. They have moved, two groups have moved. The Tuesday night and the Wednesday night groups have moved out of Phoenix Park due to the Phoenix Forward. They are now kind of operating in the Phoenix parking lot behind the government center. Last Wednesday night went wonderfully. They were there, they fed, they cleaned up, and they left. There was no trash, no incidents, nothing. Tuesday night was a little different, but last night they fed again, and I have not been in my office, but I didn't get any text messages or emails or pictures like I did last Tuesday. So hopefully that's a more permanent home for them, and they won't be tempted to roll back into Phoenix Park. There is a gentleman that feeds randomly, Ralph. Ralph is just doing his thing, so he's real sporadic. So there's nothing at my office necessarily. He doesn't come into the park to feed, so there's nothing my office can really do about Ralph as far as moving him, because he seems to just be on the sidewalk.
And this is an issue nationally and throughout the state, of course. Is there anything that can be done legislatively, statewide or locally through ordinances to address panhandling?
I'll speak to that a little bit. We've been working on it. In fact, the regulations are very complex. The health department might be able to stop this meeting if they chose to. I met with Commissioner of Health twice recently. The second meeting, Polly was there. The Commissioner of Public Safety was there. We met with our legal department. And they're really pretty pessimistic.
Has any city ever figured out how to address it legislatively?
Charlotte might be able
Either in
to.
the state or nationally?
Not really. I mean, that's the answer.
So you can't figure it out.
Yes.
All you can really do is the public education piece and the programmatic piece, and what happens is, really, to a certain extent, you make it more trouble than it's worth for the panhandlers. It's kind of supply and demand issue. And one thing that we've seen, and bless their hearts, I'm sorry for them, but we've pushed some of them out of town into Georgetown and some other areas because it's now cropped up there. So I think that's, to a certain extent, panhandler's going to panhandle. So you're sort of pushing them to other areas in some cases. But in the larger cities, it's an even bigger problem. If you've been to Denver or Miami or some of these other places, it's out of control. It's even worse.
Some of the religious groups, that makes a real problem. The religious group doesn't need to be permitted. Or it has to be sort of permitted. Because everybody's potentially a public relations business. And everybody's very wary of that. So I've worked on it quite a bit. I've decided to back off from it. When it comes down to that. Polly was at that last meeting where I decided to back off.
Yeah, basically what's going to happen is if you take it legislatively, you also shut down every single church potluck. Sorry, your church will. That's basically what it boils down to. So if your church has.
I just, to Whispers' point, I walked around a good bit in Minneapolis last week, and it was like deja vu all over again. I mean, it's the same deal there. They all look like the same people. But question, how do we pay these people that get on the van? They pay them in cash, or they go through the city's payroll system?
They're not city employees. We give the grant to New Life Day Center. So they're not city employees. We don't hold the liability. We don't hold the insurance. That all goes through New Life Day Center. New Life Day Center pays them in cash and records how much each individual is being paid. So when they reach a certain IRS level, they can fill out the paperwork to do their taxes, and then it's on the individual to actually pay their taxes. But that is cash money that we give them at the end of the day. But that's all through New Life Day Center. That has nothing to do with the city.
I wonder what they send the 1099s.
Some of the complaints I've heard from the courthouse, people that work in the courthouse, the time they pay their taxes, they net less than the folks on the van, which is, kind of interesting concept to think about. Anybody, any questions for Polly? Anybody? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the information.
We also, if you all want to ask police questions or get their input on what they're seeing now after the new ordinance, any advice you all have, what you're seeing on the street?
Well, the ordinance that was just passed a few weeks ago is really a pedestrian safety ordinance. So it attempts to address some of the driver pedestrian safety issues that go along with people that are standing in the medians, standing too close to intersections for extended periods of time. But it also addresses people who are jaywalking, going across roadways and not being at the intersection and those kind of things. So currently we're in the 60-day educational period, so there's no citations that can be written until that 60 days has passed. So after that 60-day educational period, someone that's in violation of that pedestrian safety ordinance can be given a citation. Officers could get out and talk to someone and educate them about the ordinance during this time period, but there's no citations that are being given for these 60 days. So that's kind of where we are on that. And like Charlie and Paulie said, we obviously saw an increase in panhandling when the ordinance, the original ordinance was struck down, the panhandling ordinance was struck down. But really, once this educational piece has been going on, the van's been operating, we have seen some decrease. Not that there's not people still out there, but there's been a noticeable decrease in the last month or so. But we still do see some people and get complaints and whatnot. But there's no ordinance right now to cite under. The pedestrian ordinance is a possibility if they're in violation of that. But there is a list of streets. There have to be certain streets that they're on, more heavily traveled streets. It's not just everywhere. And it's really to address the safety issue of people staying in medians, crossing roadways, stepping into roadways to get money and those kind of things. So it's a driver pedestrian safety kind of focus on that. You have any questions?
I was talking to Mr. McBride from Block by Block in Louisville, and I asked him, I said, I'm in Louisville frequently, downtown, Main Market, even on Shelbyville Road. I never see any panhandling. He said, I said, what's the secret? He said, the police in Louisville have stepped up their presence, and they use the opportunity to ask for identification.
Who said that?
Mr. McBride with Block by Block in Louisville.
I don't know. We've recently spoke with Chief Conrad down Louisville PD, and he says they're having really pretty bad issues with panhandlers there. Once our ordinance was struck down, they were told not to enforce their ordinance. So they actually have not been enforcing anything. And there could be a difference in Louisville is a lot. Louisville's geography is so spread out, you may not see it, whereas Lexington is a more condensed downtown area, so maybe it's more visible here. But Chief Conrad says they are having issues with panhandlers, and they have not been enforcing their ordinance since ours was struck down. And in fact, they've made inquiries about our van, the city of Louisville has, to see if that may work in Louisville as well.
Yeah, I was gonna mimic. I was in Louisville 2 weeks ago and meeting with their homeless coalition, and she said their panhandling is currently skyrocketing. Yeah.
You just don't seem to see it. I mean, I'm
You may not, maybe
twice
it's
a month at least.
It could be the layout, or it could be where their hot spots are there. It may not be as visible, but we have heard they're having some issues there.
They still at the off ramps. Everyone on they still line up right
Around
there.
Shelbyville Road out that area, I'm
And
all
they-
St. Matthews, that's the honest thing. But I'm not there.
Like I
yet.
said, Louisville's so much more spread out than Lexington
True.
is. It could
True.
be, it's just a geography issue that's not as visible.
I mean, can the police use this as an opportunity to ask for identification and?
No, an officer could simply, at this point, just get out and educate someone on what the ordinance is, but this is a 60-day educational period, so you can't, you could ask for someone's ID, but they wouldn't have to give it to you.
They don't have to give it to you.
But after this 60 day,
If they're in violation of the pedestrian safety ordinance, an officer could issue a citation.
When is the 60 days?
About another, this was passed a few weeks
Yeah,
ago.
July 25th.
So towards the end of, end of July, 1st of August.
Could I ask, have citation actually had an effect on them stopping?
Well, we haven't issued any citations
mean-
yet.
Even when, before the ordinance was struck down, guys that may have been cited before, did it stop them from doing it?
Do you have any information?
What we've kind of been working on is, usually if we get out with them, sometimes they're intoxicated or some type of mental illness, so that is our option to go talk to them and so forth. And we've been working with the courts, kind of get some of our habitual arrestees and alcohol intoxication and so forth, getting longer jail sentences. They were just, by the time we're done with writing the ticket, at the jail, they're back out. So
Right.
we've now seen, they find, under the habitual side of it, they're keeping them longer days, and that's really, they don't want to do that. I mean, they're okay being in there a few hours because they get right back out, but they start seeing they're getting 5 to 10 days, they're starting to slow down a little bit.
And it's hard to answer your question under the old ordinance because we've known for about a year or so that there were probably some issues with it and it might get struck down. So our officers have not been enforcing it that frequently, except when someone was really aggressive. And usually, like Lieutenant Doan said, they were either drunk at the time or some other issue the officer could charge them with. So it's really hard to tell that because we've known for a little while that there might be some issues with that ordinance. So we weren't citing people under panhandling very often.
What do you do? I was on Maxwell in Limestone. There was a panhandler out there, and he was out in the road, and he was drunk. You know, should we contact?
Absolutely, absolutely. If he looks he's intoxicated, even if we get called about a panhandling, we respond to it. If they're intoxicated and we're able to find a way to make sure the problem's taken care of, we do that. Hopefully over the last couple months, you've seen more bike officers. We've increased our numbers. I think we got 11. We have 11 now and a sergeant. They're centralized downtown day shift and night shift. But it's been a long 5-6 years ago. We had about 2 or 3.
I called about an aggressive panhandler one time, and the dispatcher actually told me there was nothing they could do about it.
Well, they shouldn't have said that. We do respond to those, even now we will respond to those, and the officer will do their best to try to resolve the situation. But no, they shouldn't have said. In fact, we heard that complaint from people calling E911. So they should have just dispatched an officer and not said that. And we told them.
David, do all of our ambassadors on the street have contact information, know who to call when they see, because they're the folks on the ground?
I just programmed them in the phone, the non-emergency number,
Uh-huh.
and I've even asked them not to interact. If they see them doing it, I told them just to call and let the police handle it.
On that point, we met in Minneapolis with some downtown management district people, pretty informative. They use block, and their people there have radios where they can contact the police directly.
Right.
And also, the downtown office buildings have their security linked in directly to the police dispatch, too, which I thought was pretty cool.
So if something happens,
Yeah.
everybody knows.
Everybody knows all at the same time. Yeah. And I told Mark, the chief, that about that. He liked that idea. It's an interesting thing to think about there downtown.
I had a question. I don't know if it's for Polly or for you all, but I've had a couple complaints of people sleeping at the pavilion, and people setting up camps at night. It was from one of our board members. He walks by there frequently. He lives on Mill Street. So I was just wondering.
Those need to come directly to me.
Okay.
Yeah, anytime you get a complaint, either they can contact me directly or you can send that information to me. I actually was asked by our CAO how many complaints we're getting about that, and I was like, I haven't gotten any. Okay. I don't think they're just reaching me. We have a street outreach team, and we also, we have a way of kind of dealing with those people and giving, kind of seeing if there's an alternative, especially the camping.
I'll forward you
and
the email.
the courthouse, so yeah, please. Those, anytime you have a concern, just send it to me.
Okay.
I apologize, I have another meeting to go to.
Thank you for
Thank you very
coming.
much. We appreciate you being here. Anybody, anything else on this topic? Okay, Catherine, whoever wants to talk about Minneapolis?
I think most of you all are familiar, but a group of business leaders went on the annual Commerce Lexington leadership visit. This year we went to Minneapolis, and while we were there, we thought it would be, or we had the opportunity to meet with the director of their management district. So we went to lunch with him, asked some questions about what they're doing.
And the chairman of their district too, which is
Yes.
Jim's equivalent.
And a large property owner representative. It was a good group. We asked them questions. Their budget is a lot bigger than ours. It's about $6 million.
Yeah, a lot more.
But some things we learned, they focus on clean and safe as well. They work very closely with block by block. I saw the ambassadors while I was there out sweeping, cleaning the streets. I thought the streets felt clean and they also felt safe. Steve, do you want to?
Yeah, they also commented that if you're standing there for more than 2 minutes, that one of the ambassadors will probably come up and says, is there some way I can help you? Direction or something. But they're very proactive, kind of like you all are as far as that's concerned. they're in their 9th year, I think, Woodford, is that what they said?
They got like 80, they have like 80 some ambassadors.
Yeah.
$6 million.
It's a big area, too.
They do have that panhandle issue, but they said it's kind of seasonal since the lungs would freeze because of but no, they do have a pedway, a very extensive pedway system, and they move into the pedway system, you know, during the winter time, which is interesting. You mentioned the communication, and everybody was in sync, which I think is really good. One of the things that they said that they meet more, I mean, have special meetings with block by block every year to look at, like, what we were talking about, capital expenses, or what things you're going to need, and actually try to be more proactive in learning more best practices with other communities and things that we can maybe apply here as well. So that may be something that we want to do as well. But it was, you know, we all have, I think, similar issues. Jim was very, he had several representatives from McBrayer there. They were all women, and they made a point of mentioning that. And they were praising him on his generosity and not wanting to go. But the head of their management district thought that you would like to visit up there one time. And he said he wanted to give you a little something. So when you come up, you know, I think.
Oh, I know what this is. I bet it's a pair of socks. It is a pair of socks.
They're wool.
Wool, I can wear it in February when I go up there, right? Very much needs a grocery store. Thanks, Steve.
But anyway, it was interesting.
I think the other thing they mentioned, Steve and Woodford, I think you heard that too, is in the initial years of their management district, they really did a lot of public type meetings with people in the district to keep everybody engaged so that they knew there was some benefit to what they were doing. Now theirs are all businesses because they were telling us that residential is not part of the management district under state law.
I also at my end of the table talking with Amy, who was with Hines Property Management. It was interesting. She'd been there from the get-go, and it sounded very familiar because when I started, it was all about beautification and, you know, making things look good and clean. And almost immediately they got into the social issues. They realized, you know, they didn't plan to, but almost immediately they got into issues of street homelessness, panhandling, all the things that we're spending most of our meetings talking about. So it was informative that sometimes the issues find you as opposed to you finding the issues.
And she was very sharp, the lady at Hines out of Houston, big office, property manager, but I asked her the question that I struggle with, is that we take care of our properties. We have people cleaning up the sidewalks, so we really don't necessarily need this. We see it as somewhat of a burden, and I asked her that question, and she gave a great answer that helped me a lot, is that, you know, they look at it as they are representing people that are working downtown, the entry into downtown, they want to, you know, no matter which block they're passing, want it to look consistent for not only the building owners, but the building tenants and the people that work at the law firms and things. So I thought that was an interesting answer for that. You know, why is wrong the lane, they want to support this. Because it benefits in different ways than you might think.
Interesting. She swayed, she said.
Yeah, she started swaying. But that was an interesting answer from a large building property management standpoint, is that you got to look at the big picture, not just your block.
Any other takeaways from Minneapolis that would be appropriate for this group?
I took some pictures of some nice parking signs. I'll show you.
I can't wait to see them tomorrow. I'm excited.
But I tell you, it's a very healthy city, you know, and one of the guys that was on the trip, Scott Terrell, the conductor, lived up there for 11 years, so we went out running 2 days, but the second day we went over to the Mississippi River, which is kind of starts right there, and they have a lot of pedestrian bridges and so forth and paths, but there were literally, it was at 6:30 in the morning, thousands of people running. It was incredible. I mean, groups of 30, 20, and cyclists. I mean, it was amazing.
I know pedways are a big deal up there. What did, I'm sure was Miss Quinn all over the pedway issue. Was she there for the trip?
Yeah.
How did the pedways, were they all decorated or what are they?
No, they were just.
They were just
Basic
very
stuff.
clean,
Yeah.
and nice and well lit.
They were well lit.
Uh,
How about at night? Were they lit up at night?
I don't
Jeff,
know.
did you go on one?
I didn't notice that they were. Now, the other feedback though is that for the 4 months a year they can, everybody goes outside and hates pedways, so.
Sure.
But that's for 4 months, so.
They said there's 2 seasons there. Summer and, or winter and road construction.
That's what I said in Chicago. Same thing.
Interesting.
And apparently as the pedways enter into office towers, they're kind of like mini malls where there's little shops on the sides of them. So it's not just think of it as the crossing of the street, but it continues through buildings. It's a little bit of a different infrastructure than we have here.
Very different. There were, it had a mall-like feel. So when you would, the pedway would connect stores on either side, anything from an AT&T to a Banana Republic to whatever, Starbucks. So they were very welcoming. It didn't feel, had a very different feel from our pedways.
And also the roadways, even in the neighborhoods and the down, were extremely wide.
Right.
Because of the snow and having to manipulate all the snow removal and so forth. Basically, everybody moves over to one side to clean it, and they move back to the other side.
But this is one of the challenges when you try to compare what we have here to Midwest cities and further west, they were able to plan their cities a little bit better, even though that's a very old city. But you got nice wide sidewalks and pretty wide thoroughfares for the most part through there down there. It's a little bit different than how tight ours are.
They said they have 7 or 8 miles of pedway.
Right, it's mostly.
On the other hand,
They don't, they can't get upside.
tour I took of the downtown said those pedways adversely affect first level retail.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's bad with good everywhere.
It's the same in Montreal.
It makes sense in the extreme winter climate, but it's not as needed in our environment, I don't think. Interesting.
Okay, I guess we'll move into the public comment for items not on the agenda. Do we have any public comments not on the agenda? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to pass this around. Holly mentioned it briefly. We have got a grant-funded series. You may have noticed some things changing in Phoenix Park, even though some people don't like turquoise. Was my choice. But we have made some physical interventions at Phoenix. The most important being that the mound, which used to be where bad things happen, now it's the Vietnam Memorial has moved up to Veterans Park. We've taken out a fence along limestone and actually put in paths there, so you can actually stand in the shade and take a phone call in Phoenix Park, which is something most of us have never done. But also really important is the programming piece. So Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and I invite you out this evening, but it looks like we're looking at another round of thunderstorms. But on nights that there aren't thunderstorms, West 6 is helping us out by doing a beer garden between 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the evening. With that, Lex Effects is working with us to do programming. So tonight is Ben Lacey's providing live music. Last night was Art on the Move Studio. Last week we had trivia, and then every Thursday night we've got bounce houses. Now originally we said the bounce houses were just for kids, but that may be negotiable. But the plan on Thursday was to create a complimentary activity for families that went with Thursday Night Live, which was something that DLC was interested in. And sorry, I don't have a lot of voice today. And then on Saturdays, the Lexington Public Library, along with DLC, really are owning Saturday mornings between 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock, what they call Play in the Park. This past week was Lexington Children's Theater. The week before we had a petting zoo. And large games in the park. It overlapped with Bike Lexington, and there were probably consistently 100 to 150 people in the park for 2 hours. So think about the last time you saw 100 to 150 people in Phoenix Park. On the weeknights, what we see is consistently between 50 and 75 people in the park. So, which are the levels we're looking for. We're not looking to recreate Thursday Night Live 3 nights a week. What we're looking for is how do we activate the park so that it deals with some of the security issues, right? which is that the best place to misbehave is where no one else is. And so what we know from learning from other cities is that when you're welcoming to everybody, it actually cuts down on bad behavior because it basically puts more eyes in the park. So that's the experiment for the month, or for the summer. We're going to run June and July. So even if it's raining tonight, please come out and check us out a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Thursday, and Saturday mornings as well. And then also, stay tuned. We don't have the exact details, but sometime after the 4th, you'll see Splash Jam 2, which is the pop-up spray ground over North Houston Park, next to Thoroughbred. Working through some of the details there. It involves garden hoses. And, but anyway, we're working on getting that together. We don't have an exact date of relaunch, but it will be coming back. So, there we go.
Bringing Taco Tuesdays back.
So we got lots and lots of good feedback on Taco Tuesday. So for those who don't know, the month of May, we took a few more city parking spots, and set up a taco truck. Tuesday was probably not the best day, but it's the only one that alliterated. So Taco Wednesday doesn't sound the same. But it actually turned out to be very popular in the sense that it started out as just city employees, and then we had construction workers found us, and then we had gray employees find us, and really the idea was to create an opportunity to kind of pull people from various places at lunch hour to interact with each other and activate the space. And so it was very popular. Probably not the right location in the future, but some variation of that. And in fact, Salsarita's truck provided the tacos, and they consistently sold about 3 times what they normally do when they do a lunch spot. So they were very taken with that opportunity, and I think that there may be opportunities for others there too. So
That's great. Jeff, I got just one thing slightly related, but Cup of Commonwealth was serving over at the Post place. How did that go? Did they think about permanent something, or?
Yeah, so the other part of May, which also was grant funded, is that Cup of Commonwealth, our friends Sal, they basically built and set up a coffee cart in the transit center. Now the thing about the transit center is that you've got, anywhere from 500 to 800 transit riders coming through there in an hour. You also have a 700 car garage attached to it, right? Where employees for the city, Gray, Construction, KU all park. And so what we tested was what happens if you provide coffee. And so they had a $1 cup of coffee and a $3 cup of coffee. And I think the $3 was iced coffee. They didn't quite break even. So it still requires some subsidy to make it work for them. That said, Sal's very interested in trying to figure out how to go to the next level, which may be doing reduced hours, or maybe it's doing a different product, and so there's been, here you go. There actually is the capacity to do a permanent coffee window over there. And so they're interested enough that they're going to continue to look at whether this will be something to do more permanently. And I will say again, on a security standpoint, we did surveys of folks basically, and just that activity, just the activity of having a place where you can get coffee, people felt more safe in the transit center. So we had people saying, I feel more safe in the transit center today than I did last week, just because you're selling coffee.
A lot of people missing there.
Yeah, and they had some regulars. The other fascinating thing was on Friday evenings we paid buskers to go do just set up and play music, and my gosh, they made more tips from transit riders, many of which have a hard time coming with $1 for the bus. They made more tips from transit riders than they do at the farmers market.
Wow.
So it was also received quite well, and same feedback. I feel safer when there's something like this going on. So.
Anything else?
I'm just a couple of things. One was on the agenda, the furniture topic. I think it would be really smart not to make this too overcomplicated, but because we've seen examples in our city of willy-nillying the trash cans and all that we make a concerted effort to create a map of, working with Jonathan, where are the ones going to go for town branch and what would be needed on Main Street, and just really kind of be a little bit more specific about it. And I know that's the intention, but I think coming from the board, we need to. And then have a go-forward plan. Will town branch funding maintain the ones they put out, and with the management district, maintain the ones we put out, but really put together a plan that makes sense so that, you know, we don't continue to have people buying a block worth of stuff and then somebody else gets something else.
Thanks, Gary.
And then secondly, I think we've collected a lot of really great pictures over time, and I'm not sure when our actual 1-year anniversary is, but whenever we would do the first annual report, I think this first year will have the highest numbers of like graffiti removal and the things that David's team has done. I think we really need to plan on a big splash for whatever our first annual report looks like and happens, and make sure that we're keeping those pictures that they've been using, because there's a lot of right in testimonials possible.
What do you think about, Kevin, what about doing a public, inviting the public over for the 1 year and say, what have you seen, what do you like, what you don't like? I mean, what do you think about that?
I like it. I think it keeps them engaged. What Gary was saying, it'd be nice if we could even do that somehow using the pictures, not spending a whole lot of money, but do that with a video component to post on the website as well.
Kind of a slideshow sort of thing.
But yeah, I mean, I think anytime right now you can get the folks that live in the district engaged, they'll see the benefit of it.
We did the public meeting in September, so that might be.
We did a public meeting in September, and the usual folks came, but we publicized, I think, pretty well. We sent notification to everybody in the district. Maybe more folks would come this time. Now they got a little track record. I mean, they've seen stuff they like and what they don't like. We want both feedback, so I think we'll try to do that. It's a good idea. Have you all had a chance to go by Shore Street and see the billboards at night?
Yes, it was good.
It really made a big difference. Have you seen it? You guys go by it, Jake. It's right, you know, the parking lot there.
Yeah.
We've got 2 billboards we've rented for how long, Woodford? 3 months or so?
3 months.
3 months, and at night, they really do pop. I mean, during the day, they're colorful, but at night, the light, it gives a different dynamic over there. So if you get a chance, stroll by or drive by. I've had a lot of compliments. People have been emailing and calling, so I think it's well received. So. Anything else? There is an investments committee meeting afterwards. Those who'd like to stay and watch Brother Webb in action. Brother Nick, you're more than welcome to. I guess if that's it, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you all very much for coming.
Yeah, Mr. Webb.